Welcome back to another video. Today we're doing the University of Miami and Florida State's Week 1 and Week 2 reviews. I have to put them in the same video because I have to get this video out. And I can't upload back to back because I don't have the audience for that yet. But we will get there. Trust me. We're at 41 subscribers. I want to get to 50 by the end of the year. And then next year, the road to 100 will be in. But let's get back into this one. And we're gonna start off with UM first. Florida State, they're gonna be last because I have a lot to say about them. Because UM they're gonna be quick because they've been taking care of business so far. It's been only 2 games, but let's start. So first game of the season, they played Florida. They beat the brakes off Florida. Cam Ward, he came in and absolutely played. He played lights out. He played really good. He played a lot better than what I expected. I knew he was gonna play good. The one interception, but I'm gonna let that one slide because he is learning. In that game, he was learning the offense. But they went to the swamp and took care of business, and they absolutely deserve that win. It's hard to come into the swamp and win, which, like I said in my Florida video, it's even though the atmosphere there is dying because of we're gonna keep losing, but we not talking about Florida. We not gonna talk about them. Trust me, a video gonna come out next week about them after they play Texas A&M. Hopefully they win. But back to UM, they've took care of business week 1. They beat Florida 41-17. Like I said, they took care of business in the swamp. Week 2, they played Florida A&M. I went to that game. Absolute blowout. They beat them 56-9. Took care of business then. Now, from what I'm looking at with UM so far, they look really good. And I think they're only going to get better. Because I only had them losing 2 games. I had them losing to Virginia Tech and Louisville. And the only other game on their schedule that could be scary is Georgia Tech because you are going on the road for that. But other than that, UM looking like they finna probably go undefeated. They look really good in the possible national champions. The only team who I would say measures up to them, who I think in my eyes could probably, beat them when it comes down to it, is Georgia. That's like, other than that, UM, I don't really see Oregon doing much. They struggled against Idaho and Boise State almost beat them. So Oregon, I don't know, they're a little bit shaky to me. Ohio State, they're shaky. Alabama's definitely shaky. But it's Georgia, to me, is looking like they finna probably go in with a vengeance, which I'm going to talk about coming into the season with a chip on your shoulder when I get to Florida State, because I'm going to come back to that. So, but with Cameron Ward is looking really good. Damian Martinez is looking good. Defense is looking like I thought it was going to look very fantastic. I have high hopes for this team this year. Right now, I'm looking at them to go undefeated, to be honest with you. I don't think they're going to lose to Virginia Tech. Virginia Tech got upset by Vanderbilt literally week 1. It's Vanderbilt. How do you lose to Vanderbilt? But I don't see UM losing any other. Realistically, the Louisville one is the only one at this point, really, because Georgia Tech lost to Syracuse, which I'm going to come back to that too with Florida State, because I got to say something about that. So, in Florida State, they don't look good at all. I haven't seen that one bright spot for them throughout the 2 games that they played. So, right now, my expectations now for UM, I will say, I think I may have underplayed them a little bit. I knew they were going to be good, but they look really good. And if not, my favorite to win a national championship this year was Georgia, because it's my thing. See, Georgia was coming in with a chip on their shoulder too. They were out the playoffs. They lost to Alabama in the SEC championship game. If anybody had a vengeance next to Florida State, it was Georgia. Georgia's coming in taking care of business too, because they have a message they want to send. So Right, for me, it was between Georgia and Ohio State and Texas for my top three teams that could possibly win it. And now I'm not gonna lie, Michigan's out of there. They got blown out by Texas, so we're gonna just throw Michigan out of there. I don't see them really doing anything. But has, to me, jumped to like three for me. I think for me right now, when I redid my list for national championships, probably or teams that can compete for it, number one is Georgia, number two is and number three is Texas. Because to me, I think Texas and are on the same level almost. If they play each other, it's not. It don't, Texas might have the edge a little bit on paper, but I think if they ever play each other in like the playoffs or something, that's going to be a really good game. And I think they're both neck and neck at this point. The only team right now who I think have a separation between the 1 and 2 spot is Georgia. They know how to dominate. So we gon' I have high hopes. I have them to most likely go undefeated now. Your toughest game on your schedule before coming into the season, your tough. Everybody thought your toughest game was gonna be Florida, and look what you did to them. So your next toughest game is probably gonna be Louisville. People thought your other toughest game was gonna be Florida State, but look how they're starting off. So yeah, so with I have them to really kind of go undefeated. I mean, I'm gonna do another video on them after they play Ball State, which they should beat Ball State. They should probably blow Ball State out, to be honest with you. So high hopes for high hopes for them. Championship, be honest, high hopes for them. So yeah, so that's That's my review on them for week 1 and week 2. That they've just overall between week 1 and week 2, they've shown dominance. They played really good and they're playing to their level. Like I said, they had to be up there, and which I like. Their defense is very physical. They are playing. The running game is working really well. Cameron Ward using his legs pretty well. The O line is actually doing decent. So they look like a really, really good team this year. And I think this is the best they've looked in a while. And if there's a time to win a national championship for them, it'll be this season. So championship expectations for them. So now, enough on UM. Let's get to FSU. Florida State. The Florida State Seminoles, I might add. They have been atrocious. Week 0, they played Georgia Tech. Got they didn't get dogged. I'm not gonna say it. Close game. It was a really good game. They lost. Did their weakness show there? Absolutely. The run defense might as well not have been there. DJ, he played solid. He played solid actually in that game. I will give him that. But a lot of mistakes, especially on offense and defense, some coaching problems. And I'm gonna say week 1, it was more of like, okay, should they have lost to Georgia Tech? Absolutely not. They shouldn't have lost to Georgia Tech. It came down to the wire though. So it was one of those where, okay, they lost a slip-up game like this, which they should have won. Best case scenario, they went to overtime, and who knows what happens there in that game, which probably should have happened, but they let the screen from Georgia Tech let the running back get all those yards towards the end and put them back in field goal range. So I will say that game was okay. They lost that one. They played Boston College week 1 on Monday. That should have been the game. They came back, and it was in Tallahassee. It was on your turf. That's when you should have came back and showed people, okay. Because remember, after week 0, they were still ranked 10. If you beat Boston College, the worst you dropped to was 17, 18, probably somewhere around that. So, but Boston College came down to Tallahassee and beat them. Now, I have a lot a lot of criticism for Florida State. First off, the running game, not the running game, the running defense is non-existent. I'm just be honest with you. It's non-existent, man. It's it's absolutely. It showed against Georgia Tech and Boston. That's 2 weeks in a row where the run game just did not exist. Not the run game, the run defense. But overall, defense has just been playing bad. And I would say Patrick Payton, the linebacker, the edge rusher slash linebacker, he might be overhyped. I ain't want to say it, but it don't look like he got an ounce of dog in him. He has not been doing much of anything. And it's getting concerning that nobody on this defense has really been doing anything. Secondary, they've been out. Even though, the only tackles they get is when the running back get 30 yards up on them. But this Florida State defense is like I'm trying to think of a way to phrase it. They're just this bad that they're so bad, Colorado could probably beat them. That's how bad Florida State is. And it's becoming a problem where you look at them and coming into the season, I was fed the delusion that they were finna go undefeated again. I was told that they were favored in every game but the Notre Dame game because that was on the road. I was fed this delusion that Florida State was going to actually be good. I believe the delusion. Because I'm an open-minded human being. So I said, you know what? I'm going to chill on my rivals for a little bit. I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt. I'm going to think, you know what? They could go undefeated again. They're really good. Was I absolutely wrong? I'm not feeding into no more delusion about you guys. You Florida State fans need the fact that I listened to a Florida State fan to tell me they were going to go undefeated, it baffles me. I don't know why I did it. But I will say this. Florida State has a chance to redeem themselves Saturday when they play Memphis. Now, before I even jump into their game against Memphis, let me jump into their offense. DJ, hot dog water. He should have went to the draft. He should have just went to the draft. He shouldn't have came back. After Oregon State, he should have just went to the draft. He would have had a better chance going into the draft after Oregon State and the transfer to Florida State. You paid him to come to Florida State because you didn't want to give Cameron Ward all that money. To be honest with you, you don't want to give Cameron Ward all that money, even though in the end, if you would have brought Cameron Ward there, you could have been 2-0 right now. And UM could have been the 0-2 team. You sometimes you have to pay to bring in the talent. In that situation, you didn't want to. Now look what you got to deal with. Now, I know I didn't have much criticism on UM. There wasn't really much to give them about. Now, let me get to the criticism about Florida State. Going first, often I'm gonna go through offense, defense, coaching too. We're gonna start with the defense again. I'm gonna say a little bit about the defense. They can't stop the run. Like I said, Patrick Payton, overhyped. He is overhyped. And to be honest, he has to find some way he has to be a leader. He has to find some way. Another thing, there's no leadership on this team. And it's hurting them. Defensively, it's hurting them. You don't have Jared Verse anymore. You don't have Frisk anymore. You don't have these guys to keep it all together. You have a bunch of defensive players who just all probably looking at each other in the locker room like, who want to step up? And it's not working. And to be honest, Patrick Payton was the man to probably step up and be the leader next. He was second to Jared Verse. But guess what? When you're there by yourself and teams know you are a good linebacker slash edge rusher, you are not finna get. To me, the reason he popped off so much when, like last year with Jared versus all them, it's because of Jared versus Fritz. They were so worried about Jared versus them that Patrick Payton was able to get by the other lineman because he didn't have to. They're not doubling him. They're not, okay, we're for the double Patrick Payton. They're not gonna do that. A lot of time, like I said, because Patrick Payton is an edge rusher slash linebacker. When he goes to the NFL, he's gonna play linebacker. They're not gonna have him play edge. He's too small to play edge rusher in the NFL. So he has to find some way to step up. The D line in general has to find some way to step up and apply pressure. And the secondary have played. I will give them the benefit of the doubt too. They've been doing all right. I'll give them all right. D line, they're an F. The secondary, I'm going to give a C. But they've been playing pretty awful too. But they're gonna get a little bit of the bye because a lot of the games that they played, it's been a lot of running the football. So I'm gonna give the secondary the benefit of the doubt. But another thing I will do, going into the offense, DJ had to be the worst investment in probably history. You brought him here. He had a solid first game. I'll give him the first game. He had a solid first game. Then we go into Boston College. Y'all were first in goal. This man missed on 3 opportunities. On two of those opportunities, the wide receiver was wide open. The first one, he floated the ball for some reason. Second one, overthrew the man. He threw that ball into the crowd. I could have threw a better ball than that. Anybody could throw a better ball than that. The man was wide open. Third one, he tried to get it to Morlock. It kind of went through Morlock's hands. But, by the way, Morlock too, he got to have better hands. He was dropping some footballs against Boston College. And he's another one who's looking to step up too. And is just not delivering. All the players that have to step up after everybody left are not stepping up. And you're not getting thing running wise. You're not getting thing passing wise. DJ is for some reason that bad. He wasn't this bad at Clemson. He wasn't this bad at Oregon State. Like, I don't know what's happening. Well, Oregon State was in the Pac-12 at the time. And we all know defense has never played in the Pac-12. So you gonna see people who was in the Pac-12 putting up 60 almost every week. So my thing was for him to I thought he was gonna ball out because I said Florida State was gonna go 9-3 in my thing because I had them losing to UM, I had them losing to us, and I had them losing to Notre Dame. Notre Dame, I don't know who they want to be anymore. They lost to Northern Illinois, so that's a whole nother thing. But Florida State, offense is bad, defense is bad, everything is bad. You're not getting the ball to your playmakers when literally your best playmaker is Malik Benson. You have other receivers too. You brought in a lot of receivers and you still have something. Like, get your playmakers the ball, and that's just not happening. And then I wanted to come down to the final point of Mike Norvell, the coaching. The coaching has been bad. And I do want to say, this whole transfer portal thing that Mike Norvell tries to do, it's showing that it's not working like it used to. You can't keep going into the portal and taking other players and thinking you could do what you did last season with the team that you brought in. He has to go recruit people. He has to actually develop players. Now, what I will give him the development of Jordan Travis. I will give him the development of Johnny Wilson. I will give him the development of Jared Verse. I'm not giving him the development of Keon Coleman. I'm not. Keon Coleman was kind of balling out at Michigan State before he went to Florida State. So here's my thing. Just because it worked those times, he can't do it. It's not gonna work this season. He has to actually go out, recruit, and develop players. And he has to develop some leadership in that locker room. He's gonna end up, if they keep losing, he's gonna lose the players. Because guess what? The players are already showing that they're not disciplined. They showed it in the Boston College game. You're seeing the frustration come out of them now. You're losing your players. There's no leadership in the locker room from both offense or defense. DJ has been playing college football for what, 4 or 5 years now. He's been a backup to Trevor Lawrence, and Trevor Lawrence just got paid. So you're telling me you brought in DJ, who's a well-experienced quarterback in college football, to play like he's playing. You brought in all of these people. You brought in players from Alabama, all of these places. And y'all are still playing like the worst team in college football. Y'all, it's super duper bad. I didn't think they were going to be this bad. And I clowned them so much for it because it baffles me how everybody thought this was going to work. You thought that bringing in DJ, I was shaky on DJ because he balled out, but he didn't ball out to a point where I'm like, yo, he finna take them to a national championship. Like, you don't look at DJ and think that. He could ball when he wants to, but he's not balling right now. Defense trash, offense trash. Your players aren't showing up who were supposed to show up. Coaching is really bad. Mike Norvell has to learn how to recruit and develop players before trying to do anything else. Going through the portal doesn't work when 70% of your team left. You try to go into the portal, bring in a whole new group of people, and expect them to be on this national championship level immediately. Some of those players don't know how it feels to be left out of the playoffs like everybody on that team the year before did. Because that means only 30% of the players on FSU right now only know how that feels. You brought in all these other players. They don't know how that feels. And you have to build the leadership up to let them all know, hey, we got to feed off the energy of the players who missed out last year so we can all go out here and prove a point. Because you did come into the season with a chip on your shoulder, and that was to prove to everybody that you deserve to be in the playoffs. Right now, you're proving everybody's point right, that y'all didn't deserve to be there. You're proving everybody's point. And all I have to say now is it could get worse from here. Their game Saturday against Memphis, they could most likely lose. You have Memphis. After Memphis, you have California, SMU, Clemson, Duke, North Carolina, Notre Dame, Charleston Southern, which is an FCS school. That's the only guaranteed win right now for them in Florida. None of these wins are guaranteed, except for the FCS school that you have scheduled. And to be frankly honest with you, I think Memphis is going to beat them. I think they are. I think their first win is going to be California. I don't see them beating Memphis if they don't step up their game. You're going to hear from me right now. If they don't step up their game, they lose to Memphis. I don't think they make a bowl game this season if they lose to Memphis Saturday. If they lose, and I'm going to come back to this video. If I'm right or wrong, y'all can get on me about it. But if they lose to Memphis, they do not make a bowl game. And I think Mike Norvell is going to finally realize, hopefully after this season, that trying to just go into the portal and bring in all of these players is not going to work. It's just not. You have to be you. It's no leadership in the locker room. Patrick Payton, to be honest, out of all the people on defense who has to step up and be the leader, Patrick Payton. Then offense, DJ should have been the leader from the very beginning. He should have to come in because you have an experienced quarterback and you have Patrick Payton, who has been taught by all these other good defensive players like Jared Verse, who's in the league now. Those guys have to step up, build leadership. That is crumbling right now. Florida State is in the worst predicament ever, probably. And for someone like me, I hope it gets worse. But this is the most confident I've been that I feel like the Gators can actually beat them this season. Because I don't see them getting... I have to see how they play against Memphis. If I see how they play against Memphis, like I said, if they lose to Memphis, it's going to be an ugly season if they lose to Memphis. It is at home. So, we're gonna see. To be honest, for Florida State fans, I do hope that this season does get better. At least make a bowl game. Y'all aren't making the playoffs still, so just forget about that one. Y'all make a bowl game. So, yeah, that's my review for both of their weeks, and I am going to do a Jaguars one probably next week Monday, and I'll just do both the Dolphins and Browns games. So kind of like how I did in this one, but then next week I'll be able to separate both the UM and Florida State ones. So yeah, so I do hope you guys enjoyed this video and have a very, very blessed day.